Hello everybody. Good morning. I lost. Good. We are today together here. Try to learn about Buddhism, and you most will know. But we have to study again, practice again. Then a very good opportunity to together, work together. Usually, work together is very important also. People, and you are very good if you practice or not just general things. Also, work together very important. It's simple also. We practice, study. We have group together work, more power, more understand. If you are very good level, maybe high level, maybe here, then you don't need to know one. You can be by yourself. But I don't know, maybe you guys are not. For example, by myself, very below zero, too low, then too difficult to just one person study, practice, maybe one time maybe get maybe more blood pressure. Too tight. Therefore, we study together, work together, more important, more benefit. Okay? My English in vacation. Otherwise, he tired. 내가 나도 지금 고정 채워야 지금 몸부리 남도 채워야 나. 그렇죠. 사진하고. 내식으로 또 나온 말 들어와.
So if we study in a group together with many people, then there's more to learn. We always learn more, and also when we do practices together in a bigger group, then the power of the practice becomes much stronger.
근데 다 가서 소소치 또 배에대야 두 번째 차야 나도 뭐 말했어 소소치고.
So unless if you are in a high level practitioner, and if you have a high level realizations, and then you don't need to do it in a group, and you can do it all by yourself.
삼촌 나도 미세야 돼. 단 도타도 주시라 그래. 지금 조번이라 지금. 단 내가 먹는 거 해. 그래서 관계겠다. 시간을 드리면서.
So generally, we are kind of impatient with our results and the goals, and we want to get everything very quickly.
근데 야 쇼치는 미대 어사서 그러지 마. 그런가.
And also, in some way, fickle-minded, meaning that we pretend as or we get very excited, to do the new things, but then that excitement dies very soon.
아니 지금 마다와로 지금 뭐 공만이 와서 야만은 지금 미치모로 오시거나 내가 그게 지금 휴잡돼야 다시 또 남주가 베스로 또 서대로 샤샤로 요거였어.
And so we pay more attention to do those practices that we have not heard before, or some practice that has that's very famous, well known. But the basic practices, we just look down and just leave it on side.
Sometimes people say, if you meditation morning, you get enlightenment morning. If you do evening, you get enlightenment evening. Then Thubten Damchoe na, ta gomjama go sadi restere.
But if you are a matured or ripened sentient being, or have all these preparations done in previous lives, then of course you can gain it very easily. If you do the practice in the evening, you can gain realization in the evening. You might have heard of this before.
But maybe we are not that kind of person. I don't know. And then she asked something like that. Some days, sometimes they are pitch much as see. They chubon got it in Goko.
And also sometimes we regard doing the retreats, reciting the mantras many times, 100,000 times and so forth. And regard that as very important, and we forgot about other basic practices.
Also, some monks in monastery, they want to do meditation in Dharamsala, go up the mountain. They heard some boy that they're very high-level monks. They meditation, all the time there. And some little fickle monks, they want to also do this. In monastery, they have to keep all the rules. Their disciplines always. They beat, if you do all things. We are very,
Discipline.
very, very strong discipline. Then they don't want to do this. They have to go to Dharamsala, Then maybe couple months, then he, give up too much this. Then the moment you want to do, then they didn't something to do. 그게 공부를 시험 배웠지. 이건 삼대와도 없다. 내가 지금 로로 누모들이 오르다.
And so these monks, the rules, the disciplines are very strict in the monastery, so they don't want to follow those strict rules, and so they think it is easier to do a retreat in the mountains in Dharamsala, and so they go up there to do a retreat. But then, of course, they didn't have much knowledge to do the retreat, and then they find that boring too, and then at the end they give up their rules.
Right. You have to retreat, you have to meditation, you have to know something. Otherwise, you don't have any basic knowledge. Why you do meditation? Then maybe some recite some mantras, some pray to, maybe deity, very rapport deities, something. And you have to. We need to something basic meditation, how you subdue our mind. Otherwise, very difficult. And in the time, the chazo,
So it's very good that you all are very good working hard. And so anyway, you should not have that close expectation, expecting all the things to happen very quickly, to achieve realizations, enlightenment very quickly. And so you have to know it's going to take time. So you have to take your time to do the practices.
We need to, what do we need? We need to relax person, right? I don't know, I'm not talking about you guys not relax, but usually we need to more relax, more subdued for our mind, also develop our more compassion with the chitta, then most important also patience. These kind of things Buddha doesn't give to Okay, this is compassion. You can check. This is bodhicitta. You can check. This is what's the passion I give you. It's not that kind. Or if maybe you're really rich, go to maybe all the world. What? All world. Etc. I need to buy compassion. I need to buy maybe bodhicitta. I need to buy maybe patience. No one said. Maybe they think, oh, this is crazy. You never find also buy. But how you get this? You have to think about. You have to know how you.
So by practicing.
Right? Otherwise, this then the Tibetan Buddhism texts that they talk about how you develop your positive minds, how you abandon to negative minds. Therefore, this takes time, not easy. Maybe a couple hundred years. Maybe too much. Maybe not this life, maybe next life. Maybe next life. But we study this, we put very good entrance. Also, we learn something.
And so the realizations of the Dharma practice cannot be achieved just by praying, just by having faith in it, or just by praying. So you have to put it into practice, you have to meditate, you have to contemplate yourself in order to generate those realizations. So we all know, we each know what kind of person we are, what do we think and so forth, right? And so, as we study or read the books, Dharma texts, it explains how we are supposed to think, and then we can check our mind and see if we are thinking in that way or not.
Otherwise, the judgment cannot judge to you're this kind of person, your mind think about this. Maybe they can think a little bit, but they say,
A judge from outside cannot tell what kind of mind you have. Maybe from your actions you can tell whether you are, in general, vaguely you can tell you have a good mind or a bad mind, but exactly what kind of mind you have, nobody can tell except yourself. So there is the saying that the drawing on a tiger is outside, the patterns of the skin, and the drawing of the person is inside. So since oneself is not hidden to oneself, one is not hidden to oneself, therefore one should know what kind of mind one has, know what is the way we are thinking and so forth, and accordingly try to change or transform in a way it is explained in the scriptures.
Sometimes we think about outside, our person, and then we get laughing. We do something very funny things, very easy to upset dance, not big reasons, but we think about real, exactly how it comes. There's not much reason. Then sometimes we can laugh by ourselves. That is so long chewing good and day. Can't change our water down, so you send me this river chedi.
And so it is important to relate your mind with the teachings in the Dharma.
네 knowledge 말아서라 팬 토에 따냐 팬 마토 따져라 주요 말했어.
So in these teachings, they explain only the things that are beneficial for our mind. There isn't anything that is not beneficial for our mind.
나도라 가래가 얘다 생기 대화고 그러왔어. 좋긴 근데 주대야지. 리도 생기 대화지 제가 답이 주대 그러왔어.
And so what we want, is a happiness to our mind, in our mind, and on our body. And so in order to have this mental and physical happiness, we run around throughout the day.
Right? You're going to morning 7, I don't know, 7, 8, something, what time? You guys get up, rush, no breakfast, go to walk, come back to something. We need to some happiness. We wish something. Also we worry, maybe we have enough things right now that maybe what happened tomorrow, what happened next year. We think we have maybe get some problems. We wish some happy always. Therefore we always are running. Then Buddha's teaching give. Then ten of Dewa. Then I'm she did that Neka Sachin Dewa was. Then they Lojun Cholatini, not 10 of Dewa. Dewa maybe Dewa, then not Toko.
So what are we doing throughout the day, running around here and there, is the means. We're looking for means to achieve happiness in this life, in this day. But the means that is explained in these teachings are to achieve happiness for forever, for everlasting happiness.
Right? Then we don't get what we want. Then we get very easy to show our dear friend unpatient. Then we destroy all things, If family members, one person get angry, they destroy the whole family. They will be unhappy. Then co-workers, maybe one person unhappy, maybe show angry, they make all the co-workers all unhappy. Then go to cities, then states, then countries, then all the world, Angry makes everybody to destroy. Therefore we put a little bit of water for every day on the patient. Patient not angry. And we put a little bit of water, maybe one day he become more soft. Okay. 이제 다 들어가지고 다 못은 거예요. 다 가서 저도 다 고모 잡사이면서.
So now we're going to start from where we stopped last time. And I believe you have done a lot of meditation now, right?
Now everybody know how to sit. You guys clean your room this morning? Maybe not. 이제 나도 지금에
So we last time talked about the 6 preparatory rites, right?
아니 담보도 가로.
So what's the first one?
First one? Yeah?
What page am I on? Cleaning the room.
Oh, yeah, good. What page? Everybody got page numbers?
126.
What's the like the heading number? Yeah.
Oh, the heading number?
Yeah.
42.
Thank you.
Okay. 다 담보 내가 시대로 줄거 모두 내가 봐서 담보이 봐서.
So the first one is cleaning the shrine room and arranging the representative of bodies, Buddha's body, speech, and mind, right?
Right. The cleaning is very important, not just Buddhist practice. Very clean area, then everybody go to there to vacation. No, very clean park. Everybody go there. Very dirty park, then no one go there. Then we need to be clean. Then, because what you tell them about that's also check current. She
So then once you have cleaned the room, then you have to arrange the representative of Buddha's body, speech, and mind, right?
아니 다 일반 조화요배가 그거 잡아서 봐서 다 팅하나 예.
And then after that is arranging or setting up offerings.
대라치 다 요새야 돼야 지요도 끊어서 먹어요.
And so the offerings that are obtained without deceiving others. And so deceiving, there's the cause of deceiving and then the motivation of deceiving.
아니 선바테 다 땐데와라 해나면 주되든 거기에 다 계속 저와처럼 장로도 sem치장 와서 이봤어.
And then the third one is sitting on a cushion with the 7th posture of the Vairochana, and then setting up, taking refuge and setting up a proper motivation.
다 땡땡이 가서 가서 로사이 봤어.
So the sitting, we discussed last time already, right?
근데 다 가서 아니 조주 제와 아니 우장 써야 돼. 다 수수 셈치 단용 계속 빠져 주주는 인증이 건데 그런 제가 말했어. 제와 제와 있다 인증이 수수 셈 단용 셈 계속 봐 내가 이제 통했나 제와 거야 맞어.
이제 왜 주로 개봐?
저 주축 나라 정말 맞죠 좀. 근데 리나나 주도 돼.
And so, the 7 postures of the Virchan, it's called the 8 postures of the Virchan. The 8th one is the breathing, meditation, counting your breath in order to bring your mind in the neutral state. It's sometimes it is counted as one of the postures, but sometimes it's not, because if your mind is not in a negative state, then you don't have to do that. So only if your mind is in a negative state, then you try to bring your mind in the neutral state, and from there you change it to the positive state.
좋아. 안에 지금 저라서 삼선 저 담보 따지지 내려와. 삼선 세번 맞지 와다 지금 셈 풀다가 코로서 되면 뒤값을 지. 그래서 장도. 대 장도 셈고 칸 셈고는 거 시기하니 파다 소다. 내 주부 셈내 주부 갈 발생 마야. 따야 답시. 그 따지지 없어.
So you can check it yourself. Other times also, when you are unhappy, when you are bored or something, and then you just sit down and just start counting your breath. Put your mind on the breath, and then count it. And then your mind think as you are exhaling, you think that I'm exhaling. As you're inhaling, you think that I'm inhaling. So when you do that, then your mind will be taken from that worry, the tension that you have, and then you will forget about that.
그래서 직전에 이제 생각을 지금 이끌어 오더라고.
And sometimes, so if you feel that relaxed, that you're not in tension and your mind is on neutral state, if you're relaxed, then you'll be able to fall asleep also.
그래서 코로로 사대기나 코로 사야 사이 예수가 무슨 대장절 누구 삼탄데나 코로 투투 말래요.
So if you are angry and if you keep thinking about the person towards whom you're angry or the reason why you're angry and so forth, then the anger grows bigger and bigger.
Then that during that maybe someone offer you very delicious dinner that maybe you're not much stressed. Then you are very comfortable bed, but you are not sleep. This is a sort of result of the anger. What is that? 가지 맞이 셈마도 셈 루마데 뭐라 지금 탑시를 들어.
So the counting the breath is a means to bring your mind in the neutral state.
This is not real meditation, okay? Otherwise, you misunderstand you. Maybe whole life, maybe 1-2 years in meditation, only this, you don't get anything. 내가 다 탑시도 랑가를 걸어서 가지 셈이야 뭐 셈마 셈 별로요. 사자로 감바로 저게나 사자들 레벨식으로 끼냐 보시오. 대표로.
So it's a means to prepare your mind to generate a positive state of mind. It's just like preparing the ground. If you're going to build a house, first you have to level the ground, and then on top of that you can build a proper house.
Otherwise you always leave this ground very nice level. You don't put other things there. The houses come out. You bring some other things put there. The first ground is very level. is that? 당번에 다 저쌤 야포 요와 있나는 다른 것도 나도 제와서 제라고 말씀 못 하세요.
And so when you adopt that very general posture, then you don't have to do the breathing meditation if your mind is already in the virtual state.
다 대체네 다 우야 보시 텐데 다쌤 그냥 보시 가르쳐 조ሾ라고 시면나 텐데 다 수수 끊어와 야고 주고 그래서
So once your mind is in the neutral state, and on top of that, when you are ready to generate any kind of mind, and then you should generate a proper motivation. So the motivation is very important, as it is explained a lot in many scriptures.
양 끊어 야버서 끊어 야고 뭐다지 대치 다 대가도 돈이 막 가서 달라다 봤어. 근데 가서 좀 지르시다 된 거를 해서 배는 작을라 잠재시다 저르시다 잠재니 다 가는 거였어. 디탄들에 되었어.
And so last time we were talking about the importance of generating a proper motivation, and a thought and so forth. So we stopped at page 125, if you have the same textbook you cover. It's in the last paragraph, right? So we were talking about the story of Brahman and Kshatriya, or royal or military caste.
야, 딱 가서 샹보 쓴다. 샹보라고. 고트는 장보. 근데 로로 제가 장보 거를 들어와. 오빠들이나 나도 용 맞으러. 제가 시고.
So you have to be smart during the practices. And if you are dull, then practice in the proper way.
그래서 다 잠재시도 저러지는 것마다 이유가 있거든. 양을 내야. 아니, 근데 잠재를 때다 되려 많게 와 있지. 열을 때 되려 많게 와 있지. 딱고 내가 전화를 그 신경을 말해서.
And so there were two persons, there were two people, Brahman and a Kshatriya. So two of them, so one was skilled in the time and one was not. Means like one knew the right time and one didn't know the right time.
그래서 다 권이 가라 다 칼라 뭔가 다 게디 슈사가 내가 반도에서 다 쳤네. 아니 게디 소라야 실라 마피면 내라 다 진다 소리나 가지. 아주는 원래는 거기서 또 떼고서 말했어. 그래서 다 잠재리 때 게디라 봐 마피면 내네. 근데 다또 가지는 그 말하지. 근데 야리티 다 게디라 저는 피차게 유고 쳤네. 다 그거 딱 가야 나와 있는
So two of them were passing by a monastery where there were many monks, Buddha Shakyamuni's followers. And so usually the custom is that the monks will have the food first, and then whatever's left, and then they will give it to the beggars and so forth, so people who come to ask for it. And so the Brahman went to ask for food before it was offered, and then he didn't get any food. But the Kshatriya was more skilled in time, or knew about the right time, and he went after the foods were already offered to the sanghas, and then whatever left over there was, then he received a lot of food.
그래서 다 뒤에가라 다 거니까 다 바디 깨져서 냠으로 해와서 아니 다 야리 되게 잠들이 되게 다 니칼라 라마서 계속 갈라 원으로 해와나 다 기대도 강하게 깨쳐서 그랬어. 다 코로나 지금 끊어서 같은 되게 샘도 좋게 와. 야리 되게 나 같이 주침보지만은 가디 예바에다 다 기대도 소리야. 다 ཉ걸 쇼라 피자를 해서 관이 깨져들 시험을 그래서
And so then they were walking and they asked each other, they said, did you get anything? The Brahmin said, no, I didn't get anything. If I had a chance, then I would cut off the head of all the sanghas of Buddha Shakyamuni. He was so angry because he didn't receive anything. But the Kshatriya had plenty of food, so he developed faith in the sanghas. And he said, if I had a chance or means, then I would have offered. I would offer food every day to the monks.
Because the Burma he doesn't know on time. He go to wrong time. Then beggars always sleep. Or whatever they reach the place, they sleep there, right? Now you guys will never believe. Was a beggar, maybe you don't have any experience. I have a lot of experience. I was a big beggar. 근데 다 군이 니마치 다 군이 사실은 예대가 그거야. 아니 시당콜로 잡아들이 오네다. 나 브라만디 시당콜로 꼭 깨지는 거 세셔가 버렸어.
So as they were walking, and then they stopped at a place and took a nap there. And while he was sleeping on the roadside, a cart came and cut off it, and then rolled over the Brahman's head and cut off his head.
대리 그거 뒤 끌어도 줘야 돼. 세텔라. 제가는 그런 거 강사셔서 레가 나무도 세텔라 좀 많이 받았죠.
And so because he had that, the evil thought, thinking that he would cut off the head of the Buddha Shakyamuni's sanghas. So that karma ripened in that very lifetime.
아니 다 셴바데 다그 소소는 좀 먹고 있고 다가 끊어대 제와 인자 아니 산에 들어야 아니 잡고다 잡고라 퍼면이 다 거기서 충분해야지 그거 거기서 다 소리 돌까 봐야 단다 자르때 대사기 신디 세단 니마 파예네 신 투마도 파시 심마로네요 코에다들 투마다 코데데 이러고 대고라 군다 코 미마라 버려서네 코 거기서 충분해 그니 다코 고나시던 때문에 다코 충분히 자수한다 아니 그까지 봐야 나지 다 기능에서 니까지야 나랑 줘봐 마땅으로 좀 받아 쉬우지 제가 다 쏘는 거 자신 뭐 쉬우지 않지만 그랬어.
And so then the Shastriya, who had a very good motivation, thinking of different food contributed to the sanghas of the Shastriya, and because of that, and at that time in that village, there, village there was this the head of the village or the merchant who died and didn't have any son, so they were looking for heir to take over his place, to be the head of the merchant. And then when they were looking for somebody who is special, then they saw this person, Shastya, who was lying under the tree in a shadow. And so in the day, the sun moves around, then the shadow also moves. But the shadow of other trees have moved around, but the shadow of the tree where he was sleeping under was still there at the same place. And so when they saw that, they found him very special. They thought there must be something special, and so they appointed him to be the head of the merchant. And then so he became very rich and was able to offer food to the sanghas all the time.
대 영화됐다 군이들 근홍스러면서 써먹거든. 야도 대충하러 왔어.
And so what made them to do that, to experience this kind of results, is because of having good and bad thoughts, right?
Usually beggars very relaxed, very comfortable. Sometimes beggars has also very strong kind of tradoship,
Jealousy.
very jealous. Because for me, I was in Lhasa in beggar 2 months. I don't have place to sit, I don't have to eat, I don't have any money. Then lunch, dinner, I have to go back. Usually I go to the restaurants, the people eating, and whatever they have left over, they give. One day I went to the one restaurant, and one customers, they eat, I don't know, lunch or dinner. I married them, to some leftover to give me. Then, before they finish, before I got, some other beggars also come in there. They also want to same table. Everybody marry them. Then I'm very strong, jealous. And also then, I don't have, also they have not enough to give everybody, Then we don't get very angry to, what the guys got? Usually beggars not doing that time, then very, very relaxed, they don't carry much, whatever after that. But sometimes they are very strong, jealous coming. But that another, that's actually, 그노 shetan la teneta shawadra shwandres.
So this is again similar kind, so the two beggars, right? And one was Brahman, one was the Shatri, and two of them, because they're having different thoughts, then they experience different results in the future.
I'm the Brahman person that time. Very angry guy. What 대인배가 다 쿵으로 되면 돈만 넣어줄 정도 왔 간지 맞지? 그놈 야보이 근데 내가 지났다 내가 야보인 거래. 그놈 두차지 근데 내가 지나 다 내가 두차는 거래. 들어가 말이죠.
And so to point to the source of this teaching, then Pabongka Rinpoche started from Kurukulla Sutra. It says the mind takes precedence over the things, over other things. The mind works quickly, it's prama, however poisonous the mind. Anything one says, does, will follow suit, and so forth. So that's the verse there, right?
아니 뒤에 오더라야 다 지름 붙여 놓으신다. 간지 맞지. 수수 취시 개와시바 지금 가디나다 그놈을 내가 가져 그놈이 아버지네 그거 해.
And then following that, there's also the quotation from Lama Tsongkhapa's text, where it says that it is very important to have a proper motivation at all the times when we're engaging in any kind of actions.
어디다 오지름시 다들 마시더니 파주들의 친구와 간세 뭐시가 드마타 진념도 대바이나 아니 끊어 야설라 때네 다 내가 야설 좀 거래서 친구와
And then also, even Pabongka Rinpoche continues in explaining that even you're doing the same kind of practice, like reciting the 21 praises Vitara, even if you're doing the same thing, but if you have different motivation, then it will be different result. It will bring different results. So he was giving the example of 4 people reciting the same prayer with different motivations.
어들 다들 좀 먹으면 아들을 납고면 이거들 아니 조지라야 아직 계셨지니 아니 세대 세니 년까도 녀보들 저는 가르쳐줬나 다 세들한테 권해주고 그래서 나 처마 가지나 다 녀와주고 예방주고 돈주고 지람도 오더요.
And then so Lama Tesha, when somebody asks him, what results are of actions done desirous of happiness, fame, and respect of this life? And I tell you, they are only the results of this life. Ask me what will happen in the next life, and I will tell you, you will be a hell being, a herbivore, or animal being.
대군도 개와샤와 되게 되어놓고 내가 죄송합니다. 간지만 좀 그 개와야 좀 죄송해서.
And so, it's not because he was born in the hell realm, or he was an animal because of the virtues, but because of his motivation.
다들 막 온다 조직이 양치 정도 와서 간지 소소 땀 떠고 년라도 저기 제도 검대가 나야 다 되라 이거 좀 말해서 아니 다 지금 상식을 삼다 이제 들으셔봐나 다 이거 계산 됐다 손인데 그러나 저야 말했던 거 정도
And also, if you practice bodhicitta or compassion or love and so forth, with the thought to have a good life, fame, and so forth in this life, then it will be exhausted in this very lifetime. You will not have anything to experience more in the future. But if you did it with with that motivation, with the motivation of bodhicitta and compassion to achieve enlightenment, then it will never be exhausted.
와다 때때부터 오더라 다 도마 끊고 내때도 시기시 대한 대화 친구 추이래 예선 점진 맞춰다기는 처라진 상식 생겼으니 그 사람도 왔어.
So it all depends on the motivation, what practice is going to be. And so, so for it to be a Dharma practice, then it has to be conjoined with the virtuous motivation, and especially for the Mahayana practice, it has to be conjoined with the special virtuous mind, that is bodhicitta. And also in the Guru Puja, when we start the Guru Puja, from the state of an extremely white, virtuous mind.
We say word, but the months,
Sometimes we just decide the word, but we don't think the meaning, and instead, our mind, is thinking about attachment, anger, and so forth.
근데 다치 대야치 상치고 쌤 주마만 봐 주면서 다 관심만 지금 주마든지지 다 때듯이 뛰어 쌤지 다 비도 도 상치 고맙다 그래서 이 도바 시리에서 메들다 생각을 소지를 끼워시고 그래서
So you should try to generate bodhicitta, for doing that practice, the bodhicitta motivation for doing that practice. But even if you don't have the genuine or actual bodhicitta, at least try to have the artificial bodhicitta.
어떤 데다 끊어 줘야 되다 끊어 간지마지 다 개회선 쇼나 장치고 쌤 대마다 다 개선 자와바지까지 뭐도 좋아 다 지고 그래서
So whatever practice you are doing, it's always important to be preceded with that proper motivation, virtuous motivation.
다들 말 다들 주도시나 모험이 되는데 딱 그런 식으로 골라 찍다 람림도 라마집에 치다 장가다 뭐 들어 가지 강호시 대신 개침 볼 말들어.
So setting up the motivation is very important. It is explained in very detail in all these different scriptures in Lama Chopra and so forth.
근데 나네 그런 주장도 샘제 탐지에 대화나 대매지나 대매지 동안에 지금 나도 가을 납다가 많다. 생각인데 삼고는 말이죠.
So as you are reciting, may all sentient beings be happy and possessed with the cause of happiness, and may sentient beings be free from suffering and the cause of suffering, and so forth. So when you're reciting that, not just reciting from your mouth, verbally, but also mentally, you should think that way.
가디나 샘제들이 얘는 처음이다. 저희 방을 내버려서 먼저 가을 납다가 되나. 샘라 가디나 얘를 처음은 외워라도 왔어.
And so we always say that may they all be free from the bias of attachment and anger and hostility. And so free from the bias, but we always have the bias in our mind, right?
같은데 이다 관심하지. 다 샘제 탐주거든 라는 야도 그 상제 고바 도바샤 대체도 아니 소적으로 샤프로 와이나요. 가게 지어와이나 시어와이나 년바이나요. 어다 테크노도 그거 말이죠.
And so whatever practice you are doing, whether making prostration or doing meditation or making offerings and so forth, and you should always think that I must achieve state of full enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. For that reason, I'm going to make prostration, I'm going to make offerings, I'm going to do this practice and so forth.
든지다 다 든지 나도 지금 다 자유지 선도 그래서 봐. 든지 끊어 야보지 크니 다 수수직 단단하고 계속 채워지지만이 샘제다 장로서 이로 다 자유 선도 그래서 봐. 잡주사시.
And then, so then after you have generated the proper motivation, and you have to visualize the merit field, and so you take a refuge, or so when you take the refuge, you have to visualize the object of refuge.
Right? Not too long, maybe you have no time to this. First you get up, cleaning, but the altars, you have too much. But if you more what we call useful, then they just 2 minutes, 2 seconds, just think that ordinarily you can think it up. Then you can put water balls, just sit there, and just very easy. But we are not familiarized, not useful, then too long. I don't have time to do this, I have to go walk. I have to pay bills. Maybe, of course, that this is not true.
So as you get used to it, then you do not take too long for you to do all these practices.
Yeah.
You can do it all of these practices in a minute.
Now we sit down, then we have good motivation.
So after you have sat down on a proper cushion, in a proper posture, and then after that you have set up a proper motivation. Now you have to do the actual meditation. And so, now you do the visualization. So when you visualize the object of refuge or the merit field, you visualize a big, huge throne in front of you, not too high, not too low, but at the level of your forehead, and you visualize a very big, huge throne. And on top of that huge throne, then you visualize 5 thrones. So one in the middle, in the center, and then one at the back, and then one at the front, one at each side, right and left. So just as it's explained in this text here.
Do you see that? But 대리치는 다 드는 것도 대신 다른 처치보다야 다 상계 친구 제지 놓치네. 야, 짜다 봐 이거 친구 그러고.
And these thrones, you see, as you visualize, you should visualize that these thrones are all supported by 8 snow lions.
안에 대리 상계도 라바 찍은데 쳐야 짜지. 라바 쪽 얼마 두지 냄새 그래서. 또 가마들이는 것이로.
And all of the other.
네 사람도 신나 시바도 나도 라바 지금 저기 왔죠. 지금 다 4월 만에. 만에 되게 아니 5급 4급 정도 받는 거지. 야 짜대 되게 아니 띵고 되서 넘어지. 아니 누구들 갑도 다 돼서 대니 다 반만 거 되서 배워줘. 누구 다 전대 요가 그래서.
누드더라.
늦었지. 그 전대대로 돼 가지고 생각.
So there's no lines. The one hand is holding up, the throne. One hand is supporting or pressing down the ground, and they symbolize that. So the hand supporting, pressing the ground, symbolize subduing all the lower demonic forces, and the hand raised up, holding the throne, symbolizes subduing all the upper demonic forces, and then the eye, gazing at the space, symbolizes all the demonic forces in the space.
Nothing sensitive. That thing is some good. We have to think about it. We don't have this kind of. We have to think about it. They that they can touch you about it. With the Lani, with Ani, ta. All Ani, shoot at the that's with Lama in Bala. Ani, sorry, Naba, and that's a jump in the English. That is it. Chingo de Corazon.
And so then in the central throne, there's a Buddha Shakyamuni, who is in nature. But in nature is your guru, your own guru, but in the aspect of Buddha Shakyamuni.
And it is so Tela Namde Toba Tamsi, Lama in the Jewa in Bit, most of Lama in Matago, which is the Shilum Yura, that's the Lama Tago.
So the reason why you see it as your guru in nature is because you receive all the instructions or the teachings from the guru, and therefore you should see, you should think in nature as a guru, and that way you can receive the blessings much faster.
And then number that Tomoto Jeja, that they be double event, should the cook somebody, to be children, that they know some double event.
And then in the aspect of Buddha Shakyamuni, that's because Buddha Shakyamuni is the one who from whom all these teachings originated, and therefore we should see in the aspect of Buddha Shakyamuni.
Then they get that Shaya and the Sanji, Shade Chabalatin, that some things shot into Jima, then to them. Because there are Sanji Shadala or Retro. Tell at any light painted that Jomagi.
So Shakyamuni has his two hands. In his right hand adopting the earth-touching mudra. So it's this earth-touching mudra, which signifies the defeat of the Kama Deva, the demon of lust.
And
then his left hand is holding a ball, a begging bowl, which is filled with the nectar.
And then Lose taken on the city, that Nawameka, many that's and Pumbu the German, Tamazo,
and then it has many qualities. That nectar inside the begging bowl has many qualities. So one of the qualities is that it is it's called all-curing, puring nectar, which symbolizes the defeat of the demons of the five aggregates.
यहाँ टेबल दर्शय वाला तेगे यहाँ छवा में बात है चिमे थे दे चिदाव दे चुमे यहाँ मुबायो दे
And also it has the quality of the nectar of immortality, symbolizing the defeat of the demonic lord of death, the Yama.
근데 세방 가 이시 그 데서 다 뇽모 베다 다 망고 다 이시 슈치마다 다 뇽모 도 바좀 거 왔어.
And then the nectar of uncontaminated primal wisdom, symbolizing the defeat of the demonic delusions. So with the wisdom you can overcome all the delusions.
어디에다가 산지 좀 되는 도시 좀 그러다 말아서 말아서 간가 도시도 좀 해가다 다 수수 도시 좀 내다 얘도 가도 산지 되겠다 뭐가 비싼 거 해봐 그래서
And so Buddha Shakyamuni has abandoned or destroyed all these four demons, but we have not. So we should practice to destroy these.
어디 다들 다 처치보다 가도 간가 다소 와서 간게 처치보다 가는 거 샤이 봤어.
Now you have visualized the huge throne on top of the five thrones, right?
다 들리지 다 너도 지 되는 처음 보여와야자 아니 다 라바 예쇼들이야 춘춘 예쇼다 내가 지지어 봐 대가라 아니 그래서 다 지수 샤바당 토메 라소리 아니 예시 쇼지지라마는 다 내가 샤고 내쇼라.
And so in the the throne on the right, there's you visualize the Buddha Maitreya, and surrounded by all the gurus of the extensive deeds.
대야 코나 주보 많이 가지야. 코나들 들랑 집에라마 뭐 고라치고 하고다 너무 지금 다 가지고 누웠어.
So just as it is in the scriptures, I mean in the tankas of Lama Chopa, you visualize Buddha Maitreya surrounded by all these lineage gurus of the profound deeds. I mean, sorry, extensive deeds.
근데 요거 쇼부터 뒤쪽에 가라야 아니 지튼 잠배야. 아니 뭐 벌을 좀 나와서 그래. 아니 사모타지 라마남 쇼가 상고르죠.
And then on the left is Manjushri, surrounded by all the gurus, like following the Nagarjuna, all the gurus of the profound view.
다음은 자로를 치지. 와 뒤가라 자와 도제자. 투모만시나 아니 때로 받은 나로 봐 나와서 봐. 아니 투모 많이 받나 다 이제도 된 정도 상황 같은 게 있지. 자로 들어가셔.
And then on the back, the throne in the back, is Buddha Vajradhara, surrounded by all the lineage gurus of the Tantra practice. Like in common, you can visualize gurus like Naropa, Tilopa, and so forth. In uncommon Tantra practice, you can visualize Vajradhara, the heads of Tantra deities like Vajragiri, the Yamataka, and so forth.
다 가서 되는 뜻이라서 완전 뒤가라. 다 소소 가야 봐. 뒤가라. 다 소소 자유라마 줄링이들라마 샥 남주 가대 이제는 대나시다. 뒤가라야. 또 산대 버스로.
And then in the front, the throne in the front, then you visualize your own guru in his or her actual form. So whatever kind of form he or she has, then you visualize that guru in the center, in the front throne.
야지 지라마 지 봐. 이게 마치 시에다 들으시 껴와도 되는 소용사 따로 내려가서.
So you visualize that guru without any physical defects. So if the guru is blind in actuality, then you don't visualize that guru as blind.
아니 샤예바데 춘치베 냐자. 용바데니 야로는 다 드스가면 평소에 남이 받들이 다 상당하죠.
So the right hand is in the gesture of expounding the Dharma, and the left hand in the meditative posture holding begging bowl filled with the nectar.
주제 면에서 가요. 뭐 어땠어?
Chosha.
대년들이 됐어.
That's
오늘에 think about this, okay?
the gesture of teaching Dharma.
You know, Tara do something this way. They many different mudras. 되지. 된지다. 다 되니 아니 사모 동반이. 되니 사모 동반이 냠라 저기. 주 때문에 다 사지. 다 사지 다이 봐. 다 지고. 사지 제마로.
And so because he or she is in that posture of expounding the Dharma, holding the begging bowl filled with the nectar, it shows that he is or she is in enlightened being.
야 주지진 여자 씨한테 다 되잖아. 냠내 제주 로종 제주까지 주라 그러고. 예. 다 땡겨서 와.
So again, the gesture of expounding or teaching Dharma is also encouraging the disciples to engage or practice Dharma.
아니 남자분이 쇼한테 다 강투비터데 다 저번 냠내지 해서
And then the meditative gesture, the left hand in the meditative gesture, it shows that that it teaches us to engage in the practice of the teachings that we study. Whatever we have studied, we should put it in practice.
다든이한테 인백이 전체 지성하고 지고다 만들어 가됐는지 저한테 봐 계지 소대다 셈모바 머리 받으래 대성화되네 슈디 같이 소에 받다 대 좀바시게 셔바티 이 좀바시 같이 또 주다오데 이게 또 주제지 냠자 그래 준치하게 되셔야 되게 동글스러워.
And then Tsokaba also said that the main obstacle for the fortunate in their practice of the path to liberation are the delusions which diffuse the mind, the yama, the root is the body, and so forth. So that's again, the gesture of teaching Dharma is to defeat all these demons.
근데 처음지 말씀하듯이 처음에 대해서 저다고 좀 것이 될라더니 실제 와서부터 내가 못 들어가요. 그래서
And then holding the long life nectar filled base, is to defeat the demon of the death, the yama, and so by defeating that, then you will be able to accomplish all these the actions, the peaceful, wrathful, the increasing, and so forth, the controlling, and so forth.
아니 대가 다르고도 소소라지 로로페 가지 이게 가 라파네 람게네 모두 추령이 되게 라마 강가수다 다고도 요가 상고를
And then to that, your root guru, your root guru, there is all other, the root guru is surrounded by all other gurus from whom you have received all the teachings, starting from how to read, or starting from the alphabets, the teacher who taught you how alphabets.
양소소 직자요로마 샤슈되나 야 나도 대안들이 되고 그래서 다 그게 샤슈면 빼면 되려야 쇼들이 그래서 샤슈되게 빼면 하셔는 나도 때리는 거 그래서
And so the guru that you visualize on the throne, if the guru is still alive, then you should visualize sitting on a cushion, on a regular cushion. But if the guru had passed away, then you can visualize him or her sitting on the lotus cushion. Usually, it is inauspicious to visualize a guru sitting on a lotus if he or she is still alive.
Yeah, also there's some also in here. He or she they teach it to love they put the lotus. This is a Tibetan Studies. That's them to just
So it's regarded as inauspicious.
This is really easy to make the computer making, but this is not good. 다 된지 대가라 달라마 대가들이 뭐죠? 또 라면도 틀고 나가고 왔어.
So these are called the 5 sets of gurus.
다들이 다 가서 추수 관계 가능하고 다 라마도 있는 사람들이 소소 미기는 관계 샤사인 봤어.
So now we are visualizing the huge throne on top of that there are 5 small thrones. And then we visualize all types of gurus, all the direct and indirect gurus, right?
다뒤 다거라 유지해서 다뒤 그냥 아무것도 뒤에 다거라 뭐 손지 아니 천리 용서지 샤제다나 천리 용서지 봐도 다뒤 샤제다나 다도 제거를 해서도
And then it says here, right? Then the other figures, they may refer from the true deities to Dharma protectors around these gurus and so forth. So they are surrounding to all these 5 different type of gurus. And you visualize all other holy beings.
You guys confused? This is we have to meditation, okay? Maybe too much there. Just the 5 thrones. The middle one is, the Buddha Shakyamuni, and other Taka. The little one was Shochila and Shama Shochila Jambaya.
So the 5 thrones, in the center one is Buddha Shakyamuni, at the right is Buddha Maitreya, left is Manjushri, the back is Buddha Vajradhara, and the front is one guru.
This is not good, okay? We let it conclude. That thing, Takolaya, that's what you know, which Korachi, Tambo, that Lame. That's sometimes reservoir, some of the
And so then surrounded to all these 5 thrones, and there are all these, the other, the deities, the protectors, and so forth. So in the innermost circle of this, surrounding to the 5 throne, is the deities of the highest level tantra, like Yamantaga, Buddha Samaja, and so forth.
And teacher, Nanjoji, he ordered a shit, he ordered Shajes to Korachi to shout.
And then after that, outside of that circle, is the deities of the Yoga Tantra, And then surrounded with, outside of that, is the performance, and outside of that, is the deities of the action tantra.
아니 대여고도 다 간다 아니 산지 아니 얘들이 다도 산지 조커쪽에 남바 근데 가상 산지 똥 산지 고라샤고 들어
And then outside of that, is the Buddha, all the Buddhas, all the 1,000 Buddhas of these fortunate eons.
그래서 난 알아서 수다 산지 문보이라다 알아서 미세그 다 가상 산지 똥 산지 얘기 감리 좋아한다 근데 막 도무가를 그래서 계속 가블라 게 맞아도 고가지고 가블라 주도 고가지고 가라 맞으면 산지 좀 내들 가는 거 다 네가 정말 다 정말 보다면 걔가 갑자기 어떻게 맞아 미세그 내가 가상 산지 똥 산지 있어.
And so, of course, there are countless Buddhas, but the reason only why we visualize these 1,000 Buddhas of these fortunate eons because we are born in this eon, the fortunate eons, where these 1,000 Buddhas will come and teach. So, in order to have connection with these Buddhas, so those who have connection with the first Buddha, and if not, then the next Buddha, if not, have connection with the Buddha Shakyamuni, if not, then maybe the future Buddha, Buddha Maitreya, if not, then that other. So all these Buddhas that we can make connection with, therefore we visualize all these 1,000 Buddhas.
되게 잘 들어가는 동사가 나지 소송아 만 아니 멜라데시 제 뒤에 다들 멜라데시 제샤고 그러죠. 데시 제서도
가르타들.
산지 동산지 다 거들어요.
And then surrounded to the outside of the Buddha, the 1,000 Buddhas, then there's the 8 medicine Buddhas.
멜라데시 제당으로서 미세가 안 들어가서 막 나가도 멜라도 좀 제대로 못 들어와서 저 공주해야지. 딱막 두지면 대신에 아마 미세가 들어가죠.
And so the 8 medicine Buddhas, they each have different prayers, right? They have prayed in different ways, and so we have a special connection with them.
뒤에 다보더라 동사가 나도 송아스는 샤오다 동사세 나도 디파샤야 미세로 왔.
So outside of them is the 35 Buddhas of confession. So these are especially for confessing all our negative beliefs.
아 뒤에 다보다 예외에서 제스.
So then outside of that, the 8 close disciples of the Buddha.
뒤에 오더라 다 라자치 되네 인투치로. 인투 라자니 제발됐다 라자서 했더라 뭘 듣도 해가지 인투 사람이 왔다 같이 과배한테 주로 나와서 많이 말하더라.
And then outside of that, outside of the bodhisattvas are surrounded by other the partaker Buddhas, the salty Rajas, and the Sarabhakas or the healers, the 16 arhats.
같이 콘서트에서 죽은 남대와 현세 남대와 가서 들 가봤다 나봐 반지에 오르더라.
And then so you can visualize that they are all in the form of a monk, wearing clothes, the saffron robes. Carrying begging bowls and the walking stick and so forth.
아니 뒤에 다 거기다 아니 뒤에서 이제 숨어서 다 샤워를 들어와 당하는 거라.
And then outside of them, and then you put all the protectors.
뒤에서 이제 숨어서 공부 시작도 받지. 아니 주자 나오듯이.
And so there's you place the protectors of the 3 capable beings. There's Mahakala, and then there's Dhamaraja,
아니 남듯이.
and
남세세.
Namse, and then the Vaishalana.
어디 내가 뒤걸어 가지고 직대면 하더니야 주야면 되네나 다 너무 많아.
So these are protectors, but protectors, and the trans-worldly protectors, the transcendental protectors. So you should not place the worldly protectors there in the merit field.
아니 다 뒤에 다들 다 자세 대하죠. 치나야 매워지. 한테 좀 바로야지. 당 뒤가야 와. 당하죠.
And so then, surrounded to them outside, you can visualize the 4 great kings, not on the throne but floating on a cloud.
too difficult? This is your visualization. 근데 다 된디가 라마도도 수수수 강송셔베 추도 수수수 달아야 모두가 남아지는 여파상 당하고.
And then these gurus that you have visualized now in front of them on a table, visualize a scripture, a volume of scripture that each of them has taught.
근데 소소가 지금 가래. 내가 왜 이거 저거. 근데 소소가 파지 라파 예쇼라 마지근 셈이네. 뭘 뜻이지?
예, 파.
파지. 아니 이거쇼라 파지가 되면 뭘 뜻이지? 아니
예절로 파.
예쇼라 파지다. 예쇼라 마지. 근데 잘로라 안에 소소가 지금 생각이 이제 뜻이지. 소소 되더라. 아니 소소 다음 셈에 가지 다 심지다 남을 가서라고 소소가 다 여기서 다 찍어줘.
And then oneself, who's taking refuge, you should also visualize yourself, in the center and surrounded to yourself are all sentient beings. On your right, all the fatherless sentient beings, and then on the left, all the mother sentient beings, and then the left, in the back, all the close, the relatives, and then in the front, all the enemies.
difficult. 태가도 삼는다. 태가도 삼는다. 까마치나 삼다도. 까마치 따통도 같아.
So you can visualize that. So first it takes time, but then when you're used to it, you can do it in a minute.
Right? You don't need too much time. 2 hours. 야, 된대게 제것도 지금 나도 쇼가 디샤와도 되게 너무 많이 봤지. 근데 지금 딱 나도 지금 왜가 나봐. 왜 까고 나봐지. 근데 또 상담을 들어.
And so then these the object that you have visualized, you should not think of them as a drawing, like in a 2-dimensional, but rather think in a 3-dimensional, like a real person sitting there.
나 들이지와도 말아서 지금 신납도 되니까 여러분들이 들어.
So if you're able to visualize like a real person rather than a drawing on a wall or something, then it's more it's better in receiving the realizations or blessings quickly.
Now we do real what's that meditation, okay? 야, 되네 지금 다 수상담에 지금 저러라 지금부터 뭐 파도게 되고 수도를 살라고 파도 수상담 와서 그래서 가시게 샘싱이 된 저배하게 채도 파도 된 샘싱이 된 저리 세용된 거지. 아, 특가시기 노상담 와서.
And then to make it a little bit difficult, you should have to visualize them being alive and moving around, doing all the things to benefit. Some are teaching Dharma, some are doing this and doing that, and running around, hitting each other and so forth.
maybe dancing also there. 어떻게 상담을 하는 거죠? 다 야부침보도 부모침은 그때나 뭐 반은 틀로 가대로 왔어.
So it's just like in the house, of a great person like a king or a minister, where there's so many people all the time doing this and that, and running around all the time, right?
어떻게 지내지? 나랑 같이 sem지기 때문에 좀 파도 같이 좀 세우고 그렇게 삼는 아무라. 다 나와요 말이죠.
So you can think that some of the holy beings in the merit field are going out to perform the deeds to benefit others, and some are coming back from performing the deeds to benefit others.
Too much? You're confused? But you can read this book slowly, read again, a couple times, then more familiarize. Then you don't need to worry. Otherwise, we say, I don't have time I have to go walk. I don't not 2 hours stay there, But you can read one day a little bit. Very good, also familiarize. Then next day is the other one. Then you can get more. And then just very easy to, when you memorize, we call it memorize. You can just think, our mind think, all the world, right? India, China, and the other Europe, it's very easy. That kind of very, this is another gomma was.
So there's the difference of having been familiarized with that or not.
Right? 근데 다 지가서 지금 소지 소지까지 소지 짜여서 왔다가 도저히 소소라치 가가 가오가가 개모시고 방 개딩을 하고 가오치 제오치에서 너무 상담하고.
And then also you should think that the objects in the merit field that you have visualized are looking at you, in a very pleased way, smiling at you.
Don't think very angry, okay? And it's 땅 가서 산지 계획을 해서 사실 재미와 말이더니 다 단단 가서 지금 속서 들어가죠. 이제 자유사도 가서 다 깜빡 가서 계획을 산지 계획 이제 들어가다 다 이제 딱 가고 싶어서
So normally, we haven't done much to please the Buddhas. And so right now, at this time, when you're visualizing and doing all these things, you're doing something that pleases the Buddha. So therefore, you have to think that they're pleased with you and they're smiling at you.
Usually we always do bad things. One day we do good things, he like. Also, their story. One mom has maybe 5 children, I don't know, maybe not exactly this area. Maybe 3 years, maybe 3 years. The 2 children are very good always. One children very terrible guy, One day he or she very good thing, then mom, the parents, wow, he did a good job, They're very happy, right? Usually always good things, maybe they don't care much, If he do always bad things, then one day he do good things, they say, he's they're kind of, Usually we just go with the angry, attachment, jealousy, but one day we do worship the good thing, Buddha, Bodhisattvas, all they're happy. Oh, the guy a little walk. And these are the kinds of
So you practice in this way, then you accumulate a great amount of knowledge in a very easy way. So now you have visualized the object of refuge, right?
Very big, okay? Not just too small. Don't think about just use small half, use small the start practice. Very big, huge. I have one story. The one lama, he offering to mandala, and first he did this.
Anyway, so there was this monk who was making mandala offering to the married field, and as he was visualizing the married field, then he added all these gurus, surrounded by this and more and more, so that he felt like the whole space is filled with them, and there's no space for himself, and he was falling into the water, and then he screamed to help, to be rescued.
You have to very, very, very big visualization, then you get more merit.
So now you have visualized the object of refuge. Now you take refuge in this object of refuge. And so whether it becomes a refuge practice or not depends on whether you have the causes of the refuge or not. So the two causes for taking refuge in the three jewels are having strong faith in the three jewels, thinking that they have, or believing that they have the power to protect you from all the sufferings, and being afraid of the sufferings, especially the sufferings in the lower realms. So this is talking about the common refuge, right? So on top of that, then also you develop compassion, thinking about the suffering of others and wanting them to be free from all this suffering. Then you develop a strong compassion. So imagine yourself taking refuge, and also at the same time as you are taking refuge, all the sentient beings that you have visualized yourself, visualizing around you, are taking refuge with you as well. And then now you take refuge in the two jewels, and by deciding the refuge prayers, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. And so the beings, all the sentient beings that you visualize around you, should be in the form of human beings, not as an animal or as a dog, a cow, and so forth, who are not able to speak or understand. but in the form that they're able to understand and speak. So that should be all in the form of human beings.
다 되지네. 다 된지 장수 치대. 너기 다 소소 음대체네. 삼체 차가게 너기 녹상 좀 당하더라.
And so as you recite this refuge prayer, imagine yourself, is the chanting leader, and then all the sentient beings are following you at the same time, together with you.
되지네 편하다. 최고 지라고 되잖아. 야 납중같이 치네. 야 뒤로 삼고 가 당하더라.
So you can have different visualization as you recite. If you're going to recite it 100 times, then maybe you can divide into how many kinds of visualizations or contemplations you're going to have. So if you want to have two times, two different types of visualization or contemplation, then you can divide 50 for each.
근데 다 담보테 너기라. 근데 다 소지 라모모 사다 등조산에 지 늦지가. 이거 까보도 세보 마보 오나서서 뒤템니. 수수지지. 이제 강가라 파포네. 수수랑가 수수지지. 이선 거 싸지게 되게 강가 파지. 저번에다 수수 라마라던 잡이지. 내 바카에서 또 강가 다송 지. 더와 나보라고 나가지. 파 매송선에 다 그냥 막 자도는 막지 바로 들어서 나오더라.
And so if you are reciting 100 times, maybe for the first 50 times, you can visualize all these gurus, from the heart of all these gurus, there comes the 5-color nectar coming down, or flowing down, and then entering into your body, thereby purifying all the negative beliefs or negative actions that you have created, especially in relation to a guru. Any negative karma created in relation to guru is being purified or come out of your body, from your pores, from the pores of your body or lower orifices, come about in the form of a black liquid or smoke and so forth, gray smoke and so forth. And then imagine like that, and do the first 50 recitations.
아니 이빠데 다 도셔라. 되게 아니 다 산지 저희가 산지 뭐 거성도 되게 돼. 다서 너 세부가 나빠지네. 어제 나빠네. 수수고 아시 semjala 파탄네. 아니 세상 손을 리토리에 돼. 저를 라미 거도 주셔는다. 저라 톱송 냠베. 다들 상고레스.
And then the next 50 recitation, during that time you can also visualize the good qualities coming in, the good qualities of the Buddha, excellent qualities for of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind, and so forth, coming in the form of, again, 5-color nectar, flowing down and entering into your body, and thereby you and all sentient beings who are doing this practice receive the blessings of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind, and you have all the obstacles removed, the life increased, and achieve all the realizations and so forth.
This is the real meditation, okay? 다 들이봐야 되네. 다 산지 지와는 감도 다 상제라 잡선으로 된 말이야.
So that's in general. So how you do that. So now we'll stop here for this time. But next time we will discuss from taking refuge, particularly in Buddha.
내가 단다 대부터 좀 나중에 많이 특징이 뭔가 더 매했어. 스타트니까 쇼쇼 들으려고 말이야. 저는 나한테 로어서.
So I haven't gone through every word. I didn't go through the word by word in this text. Just the main words and the main parts. So you have to read it yourself thoroughly, the whole book.
Otherwise we go to word by word and text too much time. Even if we didn't go, we take too much time. But one of the important. But this is how you do meditation. How you set purpose.
So we're talking about the object, where towards who you generate these proper meditations.
Okay, try it. Little difficult, little complex, yeah. Which one coming, but if you get used to this, not too difficult, though. I'm not saying it's very easy. For me, not easy, but you really serious practitioner, and not too difficult. And the purpose is society.
So the purpose is to accumulate merit. So if we have enough merit, then all our wishes will come true.
손은 나무 대도 동안 담으셨어요. 손 대바는 아니 무대비 동안 좀 실력을 했어. 손은 대비 매일 사망을 접속하고.
So if you have enough merit, then all the sufferings, all the unwanted sufferings will be pacified, and all the wanted happiness will come about.
나서 단다 수수문에 간지 약보다 지원해 지까지가 잠을 들어도 같아. 쇼치게 수수제라 손은 것도 야고 싸움에 같아. 지 니네 다 된지 개왕감에 남서 수수 들이 용을 내서 싸네. 다 깼네 저서만 나도 용을 봐.
And so when the bad things happen to us, no matter how good we do, only bad things happen to us. That's because of not having enough merit and having too much of negative karma. So, so on one hand, because of not having merit, and on the other hand, it's because of having created these negative karmas in the past life.
그래서 나도 지금 레 주부가 가봐서다 레데 마사야도 레데 마메야도 접시고.
And so we should, all try our hard, our best to not create any of these non-virtuous actions.
Okay. Did you have any questions? You have homework?
No homework.
Ready?
Yeah, really. But I have a question from Ian, who emailed me.
Okay.
And it's actually from a few weeks ago, but I kept forgetting to ask. So he quotes Pabongka Rinpoche, and he says, rejecting the Dharma happens when some of the Buddha's teachings are considered wrong or not worth practicing. And then he says, across the different traditions of Tibetan Buddhism, there have been many scholars considered to be Buddhas. When their teachings are criticized or rejected by scholars of other traditions, is that a form of rejecting the Dharma?
Yes, it becomes.
Okay,
That's not good.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that you're creating negative harm for no reason.
나솔라 집에는 교회가 나가다 주친구 시시한데 주다 라마 집아 말아 들으시면 되고 왔습니다. 맞죠? 거기 주고 간데 어떤 데에 주로 왔어.
And so the reason why we have different traditions, is because of the different gurus, the different lineage gurus. But otherwise, the teachings taught by all these different lineage gurus are same. It's the teachings of the Buddha.
삼삼치 나도 용거요. 지금도 가비 용거를 쓰나. 야마나 게루추 쟁에 지금 도전에 보다 길보다 두저쳐서. 야마나 니마 추 쟁에 지금 두저쳐니 니마도 제선들이 가지고 대 노래를 같이 따요 말이야.
So it's not the teaching itself, but the practitioners. Sometimes they claim themselves as a Buddhist, and then they claim themselves as a follower of such and such tradition, and then they do something bad. They do something bad, and then people think, oh, that tradition is bad. It's not the tradition itself; it's the follower of the tradition. So it's very easy to create non-virtuous action in that way. So you should be careful of that. So there's no mistake in the teachings of that tradition itself, but the people who mess up, as a practitioner, and those, so then those can cause troubles. And so just because of somebody who did it wrong way or somebody who said bad, if you say that tradition is bad, then it's wrong to say that. So you're creating non-virtuous actions. In India and Tibet, it happens. Some monks they misbehave, and so then others say, "Oh, the monks are very bad." It's not like that. It's just a particular monk who acts in a bad way, and then that brings a bad name to all the monks.
그냥 만족다. 그러니까 아메리카 미시. 아메리카 미치기 도전은 아메리카 도전은 라이메라. 그거 말았어.
The same with the people in America. So if one American does bad, you cannot say all the Americans are bad, right?
근데 되게 출력하려면서 서도 싫었죠. 난 듣바 대답이 너무 무서워서.
So you should be very careful in relation to these different traditions that might create non-virtuous actions for no reason.
내가 가는 게 좀 나고요. 시당 남바이 출력하려면 그럼 기집 제거를 해서 이제 되게 몸통을
So as I always try to explain that we should always respect all the religions, whether it's a Buddhist or not. Of course, definitely among the Buddhists, but even if it's not Buddhist, as long as it's a religion, you should respect that.
아니 지나 존소업이나 도의냐면서 다 배변하라 로추주된 데가 배변 남배 주 제체네 아니 배란도 쇼상을 놔두고 열더라고.
So you might have encountered with some of the Tibetans who sometimes say that Tibetans lost their country because of practicing Buddhism.
대 노르대 그 직전에 대니 주 정에 가지고 코라고 톱단도 고사기 최대 주 가르치듯이 이 무슨 말이야? 주 말이더라고.
What is?
대니 내가 정에 가지고 주 가르치니 소소 톱단도 경사라기 주 배째로 받는 주 너무 말이야.
And so there are some people. I mean, it's possible that there are some people who might have used Dharma to achieve things for themselves, high status, fame, and so forth for themselves. And because of that, they might have that might have contributed, in losing the country. But it's not because of the Dharma itself.
그때 예반에 출력한 예반에 계집체고 뒤태다 말로 지도교양 말하고 고야도 싫어. 소소 가르치는 제 정말 약대가 유전의 약으로서.
Yeah, so you should never say bad thing about other traditions.
소소 가르치면 소소 교사로 그 소소 라마로.
So which tradition you want to follow is up to you. So you have the freedom.
You want to eat, for example, all the food, different kind of foods, which one, there may be 5 different dishes, which one you want to finish, you can eat. No one said, you have to finish all that. Okay?
I think his question is also specifically asking when one scholar is looking at the advice of a different scholar from a different tradition and says that advice isn't quite right or that technique isn't quite right. So is that scholar then disrespecting the Dharma when he's giving different advice than a different teacher?
So to put that in a very specific example, when Mahaviveka says that Asanga is mind-only school, it makes sense. You have to, it's like taking a bath in the mud and then cleaning yourself off. Why take a bath in the mud to begin with? So those philosophical differences, right? And so how do you explain that?
But 개바치기, 사람들의 제당들의 쉐어디 되게 말했어. 개바치기 직시하라, 하는 게 직시하라, 근데 쉐당시하라, 거의 쉐어받다 하는 게 쉐당들 되게 면도 나와있나? 아니 상기게 저도 독자들 나와도 해봐서야죠. 근데 사그래 봤어. 나는 소득을 안 치고 왔다. 배나 레덴제게 되나 망치는 거 요랬어. 숨을 알았어. 그런 거 숨어다 되네. 그런 거 넣어서 가서 엄마 다져봐. 가서 다져봐. 다들 나가게 다들 되게 내 말에 때 저랑 그런 게 나와도 되게 엄마 내 말에 내 말에서 근데 봐 먹어 줘봐나 내 자격을 가서 했어.
대바이 처음 말 때, 그 위에 대해서 먼저 따라 바꾸려 봤어. 위에 대해서 가기도 많이 들어와. 대바이 처음 말에 들어와. 제가 개발들에게 있다. 소수로 그 따와카니요. 가동 뭐 하는 거 있어.
뭐 대단한 되게 대단한 되게
대위에 내는 데다 줘라. 이 내는 데 거기 내서 연배는 그 되게 좋았어.
So that you can say. That you can say if it is if it's the reality, then you can say, that's not the reality. So this is the reality. This is how it should be. If you want to say like that, you can say that.
대야지 이게 계획을 나서도 사직을 나서도 이게 에너지를 나서 많이 받지. 이게 내서 시작 때는 밥을 받아야 나 납초가 들어와.
So that also not supporting with that argument by saying, oh, this my teacher said that, or my Buddha said that. But if you can point, or or provide a reason to prove that that's the reality, then of course you can say that.
다 그냥 망서 디상 모다 망서 테니치는 말이죠. 소리 모델 소리 따와서 모델로.
So, but most of the problems that we have is not because of that kind of the reality in relation to the reality. It's because of your ignorance.
Okay? Okay. Yep.
My question is much more mundane.
Okay.
If I set my motivation as my motivation for my practice is to become a better person so I can help sentient beings, is that a proper motivation?
야야도 말하다. 다들 되게 것이다.
Yeah, it's good motivation.
가래 주 살아도 미시마 상거는 말하지 않아서 상거는 되었어.
So you're thinking of others, right? So that's good.
미시마 상거는 당연히 야구 용거죠.
So that if you think about others, then that's definitely good.
Not always go, I need it. Don't touch me, don't touch that. No. Okay? Okay.
There are cases when people want to do good for the world, but in fact it's really for their own ego. I mean, you see that all the time in the world of humanitarian action. So what about those people? They may think that they do for the world, but in fact so that they can shine and be recognized.
그런 미션 다시도 지게 상교의 지교 나교의 나다 그런 거 소소한 소소 직결 같은 거 해야 된다. 제발 이렇게 가르쳐. 소소다 민요 하셔도.
제 주셔도 시간한테 그런 거 말했어. 시간한테 가지. 제 쪽으로 왔어. 당가도 주셔도 냠리면 해야 돼요 말했어.
So when we're talking about talking from the point of view of a Dharma practitioner, then it's not good. But actually you can do that, right? If it helps others and also shines yourself.
Right?
Why not?
Okay. Okay.
My question was more from today, just when in working with developing your visualization to have more lifelike appearance, would it be better then to not start with the drawing to begin with, to just read the description as opposed to looking at tanka, I guess? What's the thought?
맞아, 오늘 그런 미래로 리모트 셔나지만 맞지. 오늘 그런 오늘 단에 미래로 상대가 상도다 다 달라. 맞아, 담보를 했다. 담가되는 맞다 왔지. 지금 지고 있는 데는 상도한테 대하게 말했어.
담보지 가서 당하러 가다 가서 하고 그래. 그러니까 이어로 지 하고 그러었어. 근데 대학교도 아니 말은 좋아해 봐.
Yeah, it could be, but the purpose of looking at the tanka is so that you will have idea what it looks like.
Right,
If you want to describe somebody, you show the picture, then you know, you have the idea of the person, So it's for that reason.
So get the correct appearance and then just work on not visualizing it as
a drawing, but rather as a real person there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, we just empty place. We don't know what we're saying. We have some object. Oh, yeah. Then you can think, yeah, this kind of idea. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, very late.
One quick question.
Okay.
In the blue book, Vajradhara is visualized behind Shakyamuni. In this book, in this text, he's visualized in the heart. Is there a difference? Does it make any difference whether you visualize him behind Shakyamuni or in the heart?
The chigla sange 좀 잡라 되는 너 장 선다고 나오셨어. chigla 때는 너 장은 sange 좀 두가라 선다고 나오셨어.
대고다 남의 제사도 지수사를 각각마다 그랬어. 거기서 거기에 말이죠.
Yeah, there's no contradictory. You can visualize either way.
Either way is
Either way is fine.
단단히 자유감을 가지고요. 가리 끄기로 살 대기 답이 찍사는데 최선대로 상상하시죠.
So here you visualize the objects in separate. So then you can also visualize all the objects all in one.
Yeah, sort of one into
So
the
yeah,
other.
everything into one.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Please stop.